Virgos, happy full moon in Gemini. I wanted to come on here with a collective message. I feel like I was called to come on here for certain people. So I am on here to spread some love and light. Let me just make sure my audio is good. 1 second, you guys. 1 second. Just make sure everything's good here. Sometimes I always check if I have my Bluetooth on, which a lot of times I don't. Let me just check that my audio is good. 1 second, guys. Let me just make sure my audio is good. Can I hear myself? Can I hear myself? Okay, the audio is good. The audio is good. We're in. Okay, guys. So, I don't know. I was kind of just like wandering on YouTube, and all of a sudden I just heard a little birdie say to me that I need to come on here and make a video. And I'm like, make a video? And it was like so potent. And what I heard was I need to talk about how to stay positive. So somebody out here called me to speak on this or to share how I have stayed positive, what I do to stay positive, how I'm so joyous, even though a lot of chosen ones, a lot of, us that are like-minded, that watch these kind of videos, that have these sort of spiritual gifts, that are called to do bigger and better things. We're all going through, I can confidently say that I think that we're all going through a lot right now. Some people are, how can I say this? I feel like some people can have a heavy load, a big burden on their shoulders and keep a smile, while, there's other people that are more sensitive, or maybe they're more so in the empath category, or, they're very sensitive to other people's energy. They really can't be around a lot of people for a long period of time because they feel very sensitive towards other energies and things like that. I don't know exactly where I would place myself. I feel like if I have to be in big crowds, if I have to be around a bunch of people and, suck it up, I can do it. It's not always going to be a perfect scenario, right, guys, where we can avoid certain interactions or certain days or habits or routines or whatever. But, I'm pretty like straight to the point. So I feel like what I'm going to say could come across as hopefully not tough love, hopefully not, harsh. I hope not. I feel like a lot of times even the way that I deliver channel messages come through so sharp and so intentional that when I watch it back, it's not even any of those words, that I would use to describe how I come across, my tone or whatever. I just think because it's such a clear download that I feel like sometimes I want it to sound very sweet and very soft, but that's just not really how I feel that I channel. I feel like a lot of times I'm very directional. I'm very intentional. And it may come across as soft. It may not. I'm not sure. But I feel like at the end of the day, who the messages are for, the messages are for. So I really can't spend a lot of energy trying to pronounce it correctly or do it the perfect way or make it sound this way or make it sound that way, because that's not the point of why a lot of us out here come on YouTube, right? That's not the point. The point is not to package it perfectly. The point is to get the message out here, right? That's the point. So I feel like somebody out here is calling me and asking me, how do I stay positive? Simone, I'm going through a shithole. Okay, there's somebody out here, I'm hearing the word SHIT hole. I'm going through a SHIT hole. I'm going through something that is really painful, really traumatic, really awful. Now, here's what came to me. I can't explain to how this all was downloaded into my brain to come on here and talk to you guys. I can't explain it. It would take too long to explain how it came to me. But what I got in a very short period of time, as I was basically ruminating on this thought for a couple seconds, really, was you don't have any other choice. That's just what I got. You don't have any other choice, because the alternative, the opposite, is hell, damnation, is suffering, is even more painful, right? Could even be borderline toxic, could be borderline toxic. A situation, a person, a life cycle, a karmic cycle, a connection. It could be something you're going through that feels like it's tearing you apart. It could feel karmic, or depending upon what you believe, it may or may not feel karmic to you. It depends, it depends on the person. But what other choice is there? That's kind of just what I was getting. It's like, what other choice do you have? Because choosing the option to accept that 3D reality, choosing the option to accept the excruciating pain, the betrayal, whatever it could be, is not going to make that person or situation necessarily change. We have to understand that. Some people believe in the free will concept. Others do not. That can apply to manifestation. That can apply to the world we live in, reality. I think it all kind of depends upon what beliefs and what kind of mindset a person has. You see what I'm saying? But I can speak from experience and say that giving into, let's say, for example, depression. Depression is something that I even, off camera, people have come to me, nothing to do with YouTube. I'm saying like my personal life, different conversations, different social media posts. I see it everywhere. People are miserable. I'll just put it that way. There's been this overwhelming amount of people that just feel miserable with life. And that's very sad, because life does not have to be that way. But in a nutshell, life is not always going to be peachy keen and perfect and smooth. That's why when life is smooth and when life is going well, you really have to cherish it. So if you're going through a crappy period right now and you're on your way back around to a good, happy period, at some point, you're going to be having, more good days and bad days. You really got to cherish it, because that's how life is. In a nutshell, I need some water. In a nutshell, that's how life is. That's exactly why when I feel like things are going really well, and for once I can, let out a sigh of relief. I cherish that. Before, I think I used to be afraid to really fully indulge in being in joy and being happy. And now I realize how fleeting it is. And so now I do it even more. And when I do it even more, if I'm rubbing, strangers the wrong way or whatever, that's not my problem. You know what I'm saying? Because they're choosing how they want to respond to their reality at that present moment. So there is no other alternative. It's either, here's how I feel I'm getting the message. It's either you stay on the up and up and you stay, maybe even obliviously or delusionally happy. They have that whole thing about Delulu and, people being Delulu, and it's a term people I've seen on Twitter. And, it's true. It's like sometimes you have to be delusionally happy, delusionally positive, if you will. Sometimes you really just have to think in their phrase, delusional, because being in that state of knowing that everything's going to work out for you is only going to demand the universe and everything that evolves around it to work in your favor. It's kind of like reverse psychology. It's kind of like a catch-22. It's kind of like you're not tricking the world, but in a way, you're setting your own standard as to what you want. So this too shall pass, guys. If you're going through a hard time, you know what I'm saying? Like every day is it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to put on a smile. Maybe you're watching me right now and you don't feel like you have anything that's good in your life. That's not true. It's not true. You have running water, you have snacks, you got food, you got 2 legs you can walk with, you got eyesight, you got ears you can hear. Believe it or not, there's people that live amongst us that can't hear, can't see, don't have any food, don't have any legs, don't have anything or anybody. Don't have anything or anybody. If the 2 wars that are happening right now in the Middle East and in Europe don't show you that, then I don't know what will. People's kids are literally being capitulated, like their body parts are being blown apart. Like, if you can't find anything to be grateful for, well, be grateful that you don't live in a part of the world where there's an active war happening right now and they have no electricity and no clean water and their loved ones are gone, have been taken advantage of. So just when you think that there's nothing to be happy about, just when you think that there's nothing to smile about, even if you feel guilty for it, do it. Even when the example I just gave you about there's war going on, whatever, like that's just how it is, and we can't feel bad. See, here's another thing. We can't feel bad for being happy. We can't feel bad for counting our blessings, whether the blessing is a small, tiny little blessing like a mustard seed, or big like a mansion, or big like a car, or big like a buffet, whatever, okay? It's still a blessing. It's still a gift. It's still an advantage that somebody else did not get to have today. So when you feel down in your luck and the world is caving in, which I have felt before, all of you I'm sure have felt that way before, it is normal. It is natural. I can't tell you. I mean, there's this one of these people on YouTube that it's a guy, and I keep brushing into his videos. He really specializes with manifestation and stuff like that. And I can't tell you how many times when I hear people, even him, for example, but I've heard it from different people, when they encourage people and tell them, or they have Q&As or whatever, and they throw out a crazy, question out there like a boomerang. And the person will say, well, that's normal. Do you know how comforting it is to hear somebody say, well, that's normal. That's normal. So whatever you're going through right now, as crazy it may feel, that's normal. That's a part of life. And so it's not for us and our ego to ostracize um, a 3D circumstance, a 3D place in our lives that can easily shift. You know, we need to stop making things bigger than what they are, because when we put too much, so here's the reason why there's no other alternative, is because when we place too much importance and too much attention on what's not working, on what's not going right, it expands. I could share unfortunately, countless different experiences that I've had that sometimes my ego will try to convince me and make me feel bad about it. And I swat it away, because I know that that's the past, and what our egoic mind and what our mind tends to want to do is make the past negativity that sometimes bleeds into our daily life or even today, it tries to act like it's happening now, but it already happened. You know how your mind will try to tell you, like to put you down or whatever, or like replay something that was traumatic that happened to you, but it's been years, it's been months, it's been weeks, like, but your brain is interpreting it like it's happening right now, but it's not. So that's what I mean, and I hope it doesn't sound too harsh, but that's what I mean when I say there is no other choice, and you cannot expand upon it for too long. You have to keep going, because it will expand. And like I said, I have examples in my own life that my ego mind will try to make me feel bad about. And I look back at it and I'm like, bruh, like, okay, I didn't know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't apply, universal law to this and that and this and that. I didn't know the information that I had then. So how can I feel bad about what I would have or could have, should have done at 21 years old? I'm not 21 years old anymore. I may still feel 21. I may program my mind and my body and my skin to still be 21. I'm forever 21. I always say that, a little wink, wink. I always say that. I always feel like I'm still 22, 21, 23, even though I'm not. But I programmed my body to operate like I'm still 21. You know what I'm saying? That's why some people can keep aging, so-called aging, but they're forever young, because why? They program themselves to be forever young. That is a real thing. So that's what I'm talking about, is you have to expand upon the things that are going to benefit you. What is there even to benefit from the past? Let me just ask somebody a question that's going through a lot of past trauma right now. What is beneficial from overplaying that abuse, or overplaying that breakup, or overplaying that you got fired? What does that do for you? I just want to ask you, what does that benefit you by replaying an old story that you claim that you're trying to get away from, that you're trying to create a new blueprint, a new template, a new life? So how does that fit into a life of prosperity and abundance and wealth and money? I'm not understanding the connection. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I talk about when I talk about doing the work. And I've even had this conversation with my mother. My mother, who is heavily into Christianity, and a lot of things that she's gone through in her own life, I feel she uses that as a trauma response, and a lot of people do. If something's happened to them in their early days or whatever, they get tricked, or I don't want to say brainwashed, but I'm gonna say it. They get brainwashed into certain false beliefs that keep them stuck, in that traumatic age. And a lot of people, majority of people have that problem too. But they're too chicken to actually face the music and face the mirror and face their real selves and admit that they're lying to themselves, that they're using the wrong things to cover up the wrong wounds that have happened eons ago. It could even be past lives, you know what I'm saying? But until they face the music, they're not going to heal. And so that's what I talk about when I say that there's a subsection of majority of the population that we live amongst, unfortunately, that are not healed. They're not healed people. They're not awake. They're not even aware of the trauma dumping and the anger and the misconceptions and messiness of their lives, messiness of their persona, of how they even treat people. They're not aware that they're doing the wrong thing, you know what I'm saying? But because they've not done the work, and they've not faced the music, which means they've not faced themselves and like been able to just like be by themselves, like maybe in a dark room or in a room, whatever. And that's what it takes sometimes. And to get real, to get real about the story that they've been telling themselves. And so instead of taking responsibility, they give it to what? They give it to a religion, they give it to God, they give it to the pastor, the church, whatever. And they never heal. They never grow up, they never heal because they're offloading their responsibility. And that's just the cold truth. They're offloading their own responsibility. So, my friend, okay? My brother or sister, if you are in a rut that you're not getting out of, there's something wrong, okay? And you need to maybe, unfortunately, in this one sliver of case scenario, you may need to go back a couple steps and ask yourself some tough questions. Ask yourself why you're living the way you're living. You gotta take responsibility. Like I can't even say it any nicer than that, because not saying it in a kind of cuppy cutie way is not gonna make it any better. Like I can't be fake like that. So if it comes across as harsh, I apologize, but like this is just how I talk. And I just feel like I said, for those who get it, they're gonna get it. For those who wanna placate on tones or whatever, that's your prerogative. But I'm here to help you have a high quality of life. Like I don't even care if I won millions of dollars. I would still come on here and talk just like this and do videos just like this, because why? I feel led to, and that's something that money can't buy. Like you gotta find something in life that keeps you going, so if you are in this perpetual rut and you feel like life is working against you, well, you gotta change that story. And guess what? That story that you've been living in, that storyline that you've been allowing to live in, may have a lot of bad characters. I'll repeat that. That storyline that you've been living in may have a lot of bad characters. And maybe the chink in the chain is the characters you've been hanging around. Ooh, I know that just hit somebody's heart. Like the people that you are giving your energy to may be draining you. And that's the problem. I mean, I've gone through that. I mean, I've cut out multiple people this year. And nothing harsh. Some were blunt, and others were just a matter of fact. Like, you know what? I want to be positive. I want to have a good quality of life. And if certain components in this situation right here is missing, I'm not going to give my energy to it, because now that I know how valuable my personal power is, and now that I know how valuable my energy is, I can't afford to waste it on people or situations or places or storylines that are taking me back to what I don't want to go to. And my friend, my brother and sister watching, that's the point that you have to get to. You have to get to a point where you say, I'm not going to have you take me backwards. I see what you're doing. I see the game you're playing. I see the manipulation. I see the narcissistic, behavior. I see the play. I see what you're doing, or what you think the universe is doing against you, whatever is going on. But you have to get to a point. You have to get to a point where you say, I'm not going for it. You're not going to take me backwards. I've worked too hard for it to end like this. 24, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 on the dot. Guys, this is just the harsh reality. And what bothers me sometimes in general is that we want to have things sometimes too easy, you know? And like a lot of getting past the old manuscript, the old story, the old life, the life that is dead and feels dead. Sometimes you have to say goodbye. Okay? Sometimes you have to say bye-bye to what is not benefiting you. And this is something that majority of people don't want to do. And this is why of recent, since yesterday morning, I've been speaking on this topic, because I see that it's a perpetual issue that people keep stumbling, into and not overcoming. Is they want to be a people pleaser. For lack of a better term, they are a people pleaser in disguise. They are a people pleaser in disguise and don't know it. And it could be to family, could be to parents, could be to whoever. Let me just check the audio. Okay, the audio's on. And this is, I feel like a brick wall that many people keep hitting into and coming back out and hitting into and come, because they don't want to say goodbye. They don't want to say goodbye to patterns of behavior, people, could even be a job, could be hopefully not a marriage, could be anything that has kept them stuck in unhappiness, in sadness, in feeling drained of their life force. And no matter what they do, no matter what they take, right, they can't seem to figure out why they're not going where they need to get to. Well, you know why? Because there's blockages. There's some serious blockages. And until you take some like quality time, it could even be, maybe if you're really that busy, it could be even 30 minutes to an hour. If you're lucky to have more than 30 minutes to an hour, you should be really, progressing. But if you only have 30 minutes to an hour, you say, Simone, I only got 20 minutes out of my whole day to breathe. Well, make some more time. Okay. Push your sleep schedule back, get up an hour early, do something. But if you're at this point right now where you're like, it's not working, I'm not happy, I feel like my life is getting worse, you got to stop the tape. Okay. You got to stop. You got to pump the brakes, because you're going in the wrong direction. Okay. I'm here to tell you, hello, you're going in the wrong direction. And if you don't stop and pivot, how long is that storyline going to continue for? You answer the question. Okay. How long are you going to go in the wrong direction? And it's hard. I'm not going to mince words, y'all. It is hard. I've been there. But sometimes, guys, you get to the point where you say, it's me versus me. Okay, it could be me versus person, or me versus this job, or me versus what my parents' beliefs are, which I've dealt with. Okay, the ignorance, whatever, the brainwashing, the backbiting, the comparisons, right? You got to get to a point where you say, screw this, screw that. I know that's not where I want to go. I know that's not how I want to live. And don't you deserve to have the best life possible? I mean, I want every one of you to answer this question for yourselves. Do you believe in your heart of hearts that you deserve the best life possible? Yes or no? Start there. What do you think you deserve? Do you think you deserve a shitty life? I don't think so. Or do you believe that you deserve to live the best, highest quality possible of life? What do you believe? What do you believe? So a lot of times it is going to be you over that thing or that person or whatever that obstacle or blockages are. And it's going to come down to making a choice. Me or them, right? Me or this habit, me or this ex, me or this person, me or this religion, me or whatever, just put it in place of whatever you're going through. Me and this whatever, okay? And once you make that choice, the people around you, the universe, everything is going to be responding to what you're putting out. You're going to see little by little by little, could be quick, could be slow, could be medium pace. What you're going to discover is things are going to begin to shift. Things are going to begin to change, okay? And when you start to see a shifting, and the shifting could be first in your own mind negative, well, it's actually not negative. It's just trying to redirect you, you know? So if you feel like you've lost something and, you know, you can't let it go, my advice is let it go, because you don't know what the universe is saving you from. You know, I actually had funny enough, I actually had a Twitter follower that I think I follow them back. Well, I saw their tweets, so I'm sure I follow them back. And this lady was talking about how she thought she'd have kids by now, and she thought she'd be married and all this. And there was all these different people, I'm assuming, who follow her back that were, you know, responding to her. I responded to her. She responded to me. And I said to her, you have no idea what you've been protected from. You know, you're trying to rush something. You're trying to force something. You're trying to feel bad about something not happening for you that it may not even be your time to have. So what are you tripping about? And see, humans do this a lot. You know, people, us, we all do this a lot. We tend to complain about things that we think we should have by now, that we should have this or we should have that. But that's not for you to say. If it would have happened, it would have happened at that age. Okay, if it didn't happen, guess what? You have a whole 20 plus years to have kids. So if you didn't have kids this year, and you're not over 50, even if you're over 50, whatever, people even are 40, 49 having kids, okay? She's nowhere near even 40. So I'm like, look at the stress. Just giving an example. Look at the stress that she's putting on herself, putting out in the universe, putting out, you know, you see, she made a mole into a mountain. And whether she knows it or not, that's the story she's telling herself. Just an example. The story she's telling herself is, oh, if I was good enough, I would have had kids at the age I wanted to have kids by, and I would have found the man that I wanted to have with this height, with this eye color, with this profession. See, that's the wrong thinking. And you don't have a remote control to go back in time. She can't go back in time. So once again, what is the purpose? What is the benefit of being angry or being unhappy or allowing your mind to keep you stuck in a storyline or a false narrative, a false belief that shouldn't be there in the first place? But you've let your mind take you to a danger zone where it should have never been. What happened was she allowed her mind to take her to a place that it should not be in. She is letting her mind tell her a lie. She's letting her mind or influences or whatever she's reading, whatever she's listening to, right, tell her that she's not good enough because she's 32 or 35 or whatever, early 30s, and doesn't have the whole package or whatever the heck she wants. Okay, that's not going to help her. That's only going to freak her out, right? That's only going to freak her out. That's only going to have her in anxiety. There's literally no benefit to that. There is zero benefit to try to change the inevitable. To try to change something that is gonna happen or will happen or should happen regardless of what your egoic mind is telling you. You have to understand what I'm saying on a soul deep level here. You have to get it, because a lot of people let their minds run the show. And that's the problem. They're stuck with too much thinking. They think, and they think themselves into a hole of desperation. And FYI, the universe and people can pick up when you're desperate. You know, it can pick up when you're not calm. It can pick up when you're not trusting. It can pick up when you are not equally yoked, or you're not on the right vibration. It can pick it up. It can pick it up. So use that scenario with anything, with a job, with a difficult relative, difficult spouse, difficult whatever you're going through, right? Difficult boss, neighbor, sibling, whatever you're going through. A lot of things, a lot of false programming that we have built in our minds do not benefit us. And it's up to us to reprogram our mind. You heard that right. Reprogram your mind. That is up to you to do. That is up to you to do. That's why I said it's work, but not work in a sense of toiling or exhausted. No, this is joyous work. This is fun. This is expansive. This is liberating. So that's how it should feel for you. It should feel exciting. It should feel like you're on the edge. It should feel like, wow, what's going to happen next? Not the kind of work where you feel like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't take it no more. Oh, my brain hurts. That's the wrong vibration. That is the wrong starting point, okay? So program your mind to say there is no other better option, okay? Feeling natural feelings of sadness or whatever is normal. It is normal. But what's not normal, what's not productive, what's not going to benefit you is staying in that place for years, for months, for weeks, not even for days. It's not going to do nothing but bring you even lower, bring you even slower. It's going to slow everything down. So be mindful of that when, you're taking the opportunity to ruminate on something that it cannot change. Because what a lot of people do is they fixate their mind on something that happened a long time ago that cannot change. And somehow, some way, their current reality, their current knowledge, they try to backtrack and backpedal and implement it into another reality that's already gone. And that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they try to backtrack. They try to backpedal. Don't backpedal now. Don't backpedal now. It's gone. The time is gone. It's done. It's over. That should give you all the freedom and all the joy to move in a positive direction.